Hi all, my name is Anna. I'm a TA for ModPo, and I'll be offering the Canon challenge for week 3. So week 3 of ModPo introduces the rise of poetic modernism, and we primarily spend the week looking at imagism in the poetry of William Carlos Williams. In ModPo, we certainly celebrate the strong objectives of imagism, and we're particularly excited about the ways that the movement breaks free of Victorian poetic conventions, especially around symbols and the use of poetic forms like sonnets and blank verse. There are some significant downsides and problems with imagism, though, and I think we should be mindful of the ways that a poem like Ezra Pound's The Encounter, while celebrating a kind of new morality, literally objectifies the woman in the poem, turning her into a paper napkin. Imagism is also deeply indebted to, and some would even say appropriative of, Japanese visual and poetic aesthetics. And if you're interested in the Japanese influence on imagism, please visit our section on Japan in ModPo Plus for Chapter 2.1, where we spend some time with Japanese and Japan-based poets and scholars discussing this relationship. We should also acknowledge that while Ezra Pound was enormously influential and important to many of the poets we study in week 3, including Williams and H.D., he was also an avowed fascist in his later years in Italy, in the years leading up to and during World War II. Williams is another figure that we study in this week, and of course also in week 2 of ModPo. He's also an enormously complex figure, and while we admire the poems that we include here in ModPo, we should also be critical of his treatment of women and his views about women that he expresses in his poems, particularly This Is Just to Say, Portrait of a Lady, and Young Woman at a Window. To put it simply, Williams was a great poet and a terrible husband. And I personally think it's important to hold both of those facts together as we read his poems. For more on Williams and some other responses to his work, once again, I invite you to visit ModPo Plus for Chapter 2.2. And of course, please let us know what you think about all of this in our ModPo discussion forums.